Let me see. There we go. We are live. Thank you so much for being here. Hello, everyone. So, welcome to the first Microsoft Minds Leadership and AI in Motion. And this time, we're not going to talk a lot about tech, of course, a little bit, but mostly we're going to talk about leadership conversation, about how we lead, inspire, and adopt in a world where AI is moving faster than ever. I'm Femke Cornelissen, Microsoft MVP, Chief Co-Pilot at Wardell, and I'm really passionate about the power of leadership. And today I'm joined by someone who's helped shape the world, connects and collaborates as well. Ilya Bukshteyn, I hope I say your name right.
You did.
Corporate, great, corporate vice president at Microsoft and leading teams calling devices and premium experiences. Ilya, it's such a pleasure to have you here, and let's start it. Can you please introduce yourself as well?
Sure. It's a pleasure for me to be here. Thank you for having me. Like you said, my name's Ilya Bukshteyn. I have the privilege of leading part of the Microsoft Teams product group. So I am responsible for Microsoft Teams as a cloud phone system, Teams Phone. All of the devices work. So anywhere where we have purpose-built devices, probably the best known one is Teams Rooms. Which is a concept that I came up with about 11 years ago now.
Wow.
But Teams on desk phones, calendar hall displays, peripherals, and the protocols they use to connect the Teams, certification of our partner devices, all of that devices world. And then premium experiences, that's a word I came up with because I'm not that inventive for wording. That's the Teams premium SKU. But more specifically, the product areas are Teams events, so town hall, webinar, all of those products. Teams Immersive, formerly known as Mesh, and then all the other value-added work that we're doing in advanced communication and protection. So advanced communication would be like the Qs app, some of the AI work we're doing there. Protection would be all of the things we're doing to help people kind of manage in the real-time communication space. Also some more value-added areas like branded meetings and so forth. So that's my whole space. Been
Awesome.
31 years next month, so it's been a
Wow.
while.
Yeah.
But this is probably actually the biggest era of change for me. Kind of reminds me of the graphic user interface revolution, but on steroids because it's going faster. So yeah, excited to be here and chat.
Oh, great. It's great to hear. And what a lot of products are launched and a great journey you had already. And I also believe this is like a really big revolution that we middle in
Absolutely.
it. And one question before we go to all the other questions that I prepared, but one question that I just want to ask you is, I'm chief co-pilot and a lot of people working with co-pilots and setting up like Teams rooms, equipment there. And one of the things that I see is that people start with Copilot but don't have always the right equipment or just using one laptop or something like that. Is there something like an advice for organizations who are starting with Copilot and meetings, what they really need to have or where they need to start thinking about to get the most out of AI?
Yeah, there's a lot in terms of personal devices. I think there's a lot in terms of culture and workflow, but sticking specifically to devices, and since you teed it up with rooms, I'll say I think in a world where intelligence is plentiful, right? So one of the things that I've heard that really resonates with me is we've gone through eras where compute went from very expensive, mainframe mini, to effectively not free, but sort of approaching that in the cloud, always available, sort of commoditized. AI is doing the same thing for intelligence. So knowledge, ability to find that knowledge, reason on it, that's just scaling super rapidly. The question then becomes, how do you make that accessible to everybody, anytime, anywhere? And to do that, you either say, we are all going to have personal devices that are always connected. Probably true, right? We have mobile phones, still kind of a hassle to get through the UI and get to the intelligence. Maybe in the future that'll change. Maybe we'll have glasses or earbuds that are connected, but those are personal. So if you and I are in the same space, we can have our assistant, but how do we have something that's shared, effectively a coworker that's helping us? And when you and I are remote like this, we could have an agent that's part of this chat, that's listening in to what we're saying and doing and helping us. But if we were in the same physical space, that needs eyes, ears, a brain, and a way to communicate. And that's what I think room systems will become. They'll become great communication collaboration devices. That's already the case. But they'll become that eyes, ears, brain, display, voice for
as a real human.
Yeah, exactly. So if you and I walk into a room, we don't have to worry about taking notes. We don't have to worry about opening our laptops to look something up, because we'll be able to ask the facilitator agent in the room. We don't have to worry if the display's not working, because we can ask. In fact, the facilitator will tell us, go choose a different room. So I think there's a ton of new opportunity that is enabled by having that kind of an AI connected system in every space.
Yeah, I that's awesome, and I absolutely love already what's in it now. And one of the things that I saw like a few weeks ago was like in the Mercedes, that you have like a Teams meeting in your Mercedes with
Yes.
camera and that kind of things. And then I'm thinking about, okay, it's going really, really fast, right? This is amazing how you can just drive and being in a Teams meeting. I think we're doing that all already, but now as well with some, like with your agent in it, and with some video opportunity in it, so many things changing. But I have one question, thinking about like you have helped a lot of people like define how they connect and meet in the past. What do you think what's next for when we're talking about leadership and talking about more a hybrid first world? What do you think that happened there?
Yeah, first of all, appreciate you saying I have helped. It's really the team, like the team that has worked. Many of us, way back when, Link, Office Communication Server, then Link, then Skype for Business, then Teams.
Yeah.
So it's really the team that did amazing work. But to get on your question on leadership, the thing I try to think about is the changing nature of hybrid in an AI world, and what that means I should be asking myself as a leader. So I think hybrid today means some people physically together, some apart. I think in the future, we've talked about this as frontier firms, but in the future, that's going to mean some people physically together, some people apart, and agents. Agents that we collaborate with as if they were fellow employees. And then, you have to think about, are the tools going to be there to manage those agents, to collaborate with those agents as easily as we do with humans? That's something we think about in Teams. Teams today is we think, we're biased, great environment to collaborate with other people. In the future, it's got to be a great environment to collaborate with people and agents. And that'll take some product evolution. But to come back to leadership, the kinds of things I think about are, one, am I encouraging enough innovation at a fast enough cycle? What I mean by that is, when we get to a product that's used, sort of old-fashioned word, used as a dial tone system. I think my kids don't even know what dial tone means anymore, but
No.
Used in a way that always has to be there. That's true for Teams Phone. That's increasingly true for Teams Rooms. We have to deliver very high levels of quality. We have to deliver security. Those are jobs 1 and 2 at Microsoft: security and quality. And then how do you balance that with really driving AI innovation and transformation? And so I ask myself, do I have enough people with enough time and kind of confidence to try things very rapidly? Like, are we running experiments daily or at least weekly or monthly? Is it okay if the experiment fails and we know that we have to change course? Is it, and this, very specific to the kinds of products we have, are we asking the right questions in those experiments? Because, with AI, it's a very different product set. You don't know what you don't know. In other words, you can come up with a set of capability. Are you testing it, or are you factoring in that it could hallucinate? It could give answers you're not thinking about. In fact, I'll give you an example. We are working on, as I said, AI in Teams rooms and having it be there when you first walk into the room. And we know that people like having kind of an icebreaker. They like having someone in the room say something about
How
the
was your
weather.
weekend?
How was your weekend? And so we're trying to tune that, and we got some great responses where one person came in, put a really big water bottle on the desk, and our agent in the room said, "Wow, that's great way to stay hydrated." Very, very positive. But then the agent also commented on the person's outfit, and so you say, "Oh, okay, that was not something we planned for." So you have, are you thinking about those things? And then connected to that, that's the what. How we work is something I also, by the way, I don't claim to have the answers on both of these, but I'll just say it's what I'm thinking about a lot. I think sort of phase one, we were thinking about AI helps all of us, helps us write, read, consume. That's great. When we start thinking about AI now can do work on our behalf, that's agents, and can act more autonomously as coworkers, then I do think we have to revisit our workflows, like our actual processes. So, in our product management processes, do we have space to say a very initial concept we should be able to give to an agent to go gather information, competitive research? Like, do we have the processes where that's becoming a habit to just utilize that intelligence and not just save time for someone, but actually change the process so that we're working differently and at different speed?
And of course,
so those are the kinds of things I'm thinking
and of
about.
course, Teams meetings is sort of included in your process, right? So having a meeting or talking with a customer, and you have like a process around it, and you put an agent in it, then is that agent is a part of that meeting that you have as well. So you need to think in the broadest way how you're going to do that as well with the meetings that you have around that subject or that process.
Yeah, so
that's the next step.
We have a meeting agent that we've been working on. And I think to your point, we start thinking about, boy, we have a weekly open hours with our Teams Rooms customers. How are we using our meeting agent? We could be using the meeting agent just to help us. Hey, here's the agenda and who's been talking more. Are we using the meeting agent to also capture key themes, remind us the next week of the key themes, who they were assigned to, how they were implemented in the backlog? There's a lot more that we can do. And I say we as sort of the world. There's a lot more
team, the world. Yeah. So how do you balance like innovation with all the real world user expectations that are there, but as well all the things that you're focusing on, like Teams Phone and devices and premium? There are so many things that you need to bring to the market with the team that you're working with. What is the balance there in what you bring to market and tell the world?
Yeah, again, I kind of hinted at this earlier, but I think about this a lot. We can't be too much on any one side. So we have to do security and quality and continual product improvement. There's a lot of features that our customers are telling us they need to deploy more Teams rooms, manage more Teams rooms. I'm just picking on those. So we have to listen to customers, and we have to deliver a product that they feel great about betting on.
Mm.
And we have to experiment to stay ahead of how those products will fundamentally change. Teams Phone, I would say all phone systems are built for a world where there's human attendants and operators. We have to look ahead and say, do we believe that's going to be true, or do those become agents? And it's really a collection of kind of front desk agents. That's what we believe. So we've got to work on that in parallel. Same thing for rooms. Do we believe rooms will be managed by a set of agents in the future? Do we believe there'll be a host type of agent in every space? Yes. Is it something customers are sort of explicitly asking for today? No, but I would say that's also not their day job. Their day job is to have this technology work for their users. So on the team, I really like the way our CEO Satya put it in a memo he sent around. There are just 3 clear priorities: security, quality, AI transformation. Quality means continuing to enhance our products and grow our businesses, because that's part of quality, is having a product that has all the features our customers need. And we have to drive AI transformation, sort of staying ahead of actually what customers may be asking for.
So what does it take to lead all this kind of product experience at scale? Because it's like a lot, and stay like still in the human side, close to the human side. Because I think you think about like way forward around what's happening with all the agents in the Teams calling systems, but as well, like Microsoft is human minded, what it takes to empower more people with all this kind of solutions. How does it work for you, or how do you stay still in that human way of thinking?
Well, I'll say we're still, figuring it out along with the rest of the world. So if someone has the perfect answer, I'd love to hear it. It's a super interesting time. Again, when I think back through my experiences, I think back to the big shift. It happened right around Windows 95 to kind of computers being in a lot more places, lots more people learning to use them. And there was a lot of, I would say, push on us to say, help the world learn. We did a ton of learning content back then, DVDs, videos, books. I think the same thing happened with the cloud, but we had the benefit now of the web. So we did a lot of learning content on the web. It's very similar, but at faster speed. So I know we're investing a lot as a company into helping skilling and learning for the world. And at the same time, personally, I think it's going to take a lot of community. What I mean by that is, when we're figuring this stuff out at high speed, sharing what you just did, what you learned, and what you got out of it becomes super important. So we're really trying within my team to literally every day post what's a daily AI experience I had. Here's some content I came up with, or a prompt, or a way I used an agent. I think it's going to take a lot of that working together right now in teams to move the whole team forward.
I think that's interesting what you say. It's like learning on the job, learning from each other, but as well the community is really important to share what others learn and share, how others as well can grow. Really great to hear that. And I think
and I would just
go so fast. Yeah,
I would encourage everyone to use, if it's professionally, I'd say use LinkedIn. Again, I'm biased, but post your experiences the way you do, Femke. Ask for others to share. I think when there's a really big, significant change in how we all work, community will help.
True. Yeah, community always will help. They are always willing to help others. So yeah, you really need to shoot out there and ask for help. Where do you believe that leaders should invest in their like 12 until 24 months, like tech, talent, or something unexpected?
Boy, 24 months right now
Everything.
feels great, right? I do think leaders should make sure that there's a good amount of experimentation happening,
Mhm.
and there's a culture that encourages that, including failure, right? So you
Mhm.
learn not just from
I agree.
success, but from failure. I do think leaders broadly should encourage not just sort of Copilot type technology as an assistant to individuals, but as I said, rethinking workflows and how AI working on behalf of groups can be integrated and actually change business processes. And I think
Uh,
leaders should look ahead and think about if I'll give you an example that seems very clear. We will have technology take over the role of interpreters within that 24 months. Whether it's audio interpretation, I think sign language interpretation, like we will have embodied interpreters where you'd be able to speak Danish, Norwegian, any one of the many languages I'm sure you know, and I
yeah,
would
it's
hear
crazy.
you. So I think, with that, if I was a leader, I'd be thinking about, well, who in my company does interpretation today and how their talents to help in other ways in business workflows. Can I take maybe the money that I was spending to hire external interpreters and invest that elsewhere in the business? So you can look ahead. There's some areas that it seems really clear that the tech is going to be very good at it. And then how do you take the human cycles or the money and accelerate your business in other ways?
So how can you again look at your workflows? What do you want to achieve? How can I help your teams and the persons in the organization? But as well, what are your goals of the organization
Yeah.
for the upcoming months? Um, Another question, and that's the last
Sure.
one. I
Okay.
believe that the world of calling and devices is really transforming, and I hear you saying the same as me. But what is the most excites you about like this shift?
Uh, so I do think I'm repeating myself, but I do think it's that,
Fine.
boy, there's intelligence everywhere. What does it mean
Mhm.
for experience? I'll pick on calling. I hate getting an IVR today when I call for customer service
Yeah.
because it's slow, it's inefficient, it's unnatural. It can't ever actually answer my question. And all I'm doing is saying operator to go to the operator. But the problem is then I'm waiting because there's only so many human operators. That is a finite intelligence. If that IVR was actually smarter, it should save me time by actually being able to have a natural conversation. So if I call a store, I should be able to say, do you have this product on the shelf at this location and what's the price? Today, that's no IVR is
That's
going to
how
solve that.
mhm.
Super easy to do with AI because it's connected to the systems, it understands and can converse, and it should save me time. And actually,
Mm.
then I shouldn't need to make a phone call. I maybe should be able to chat to that same agent, whatever's most
Same. Yeah.
convenient. If I'm driving, I'll call.
Yeah.
In fact, great. Oh boy, I'm out of milk. I wonder if that milk that I like is at the store that is on
So
my way,
there.
right? So I think that's like a huge change that again takes that human limit off of the ability to get information and actually decision making that I need. And then for devices, again, it's the making full use of the eyes, ears, and brain that we have in every space. There's so many things that for the one I always talk about, for 11 years, one of the things that we've always faced is in every room that is a rectangle, somebody puts a chair in front of the camera. And, we don't notice that until someone remote finally speaks up and says, hey, I've been staring at the back of the chair. Can you move it? That is so solvable. The minute you walk into the room, the host agent should be able to say, ready to start the meeting for you. It's really important for people to be able to see you. Do you mind moving the chair? Then, by the way, it's also very feasible for the host to say, great to see you, Ilya. I know what your next meeting is. Can I get that started for you? And by the way, for this next meeting, here's how many people are already in it. We can display that on the large display and make better use of it. So I'm pretty excited about what more we can do with, again, the eyes, ears, and brain.
Nice, good to hear. And there's one thing that I really like to have in the future, and that is like talking more with in teams with an AI agent or with co-pilots. I see already some things in it, but I believe that will be like next thing more.
The things I worked on, I worked for a gentleman named Zig Serafin. He's now CEO of Qualtrics. We were part of the Speech at Microsoft organization. And we worked on, what is it going to take in the future to get people to be more comfortable talking with technology? And it turned out that people were comfortable when they were on their own because the tech wasn't that good. And so if it screwed up, if you had to repeat yourself, not a problem. But in a group, there's this sort of embarrassment factor of, boy, whatever the tech is didn't understand me. And so it turned out you would try it once, and if it didn't go perfectly, you'd never try it again. Now I think, like, we don't have that embarrassment factor talking to each other. If I say something and you go, I have no idea what you just said, that's okay. Well, let me explain, right? I think the technology is now at a point where we can have that same level of dialogue with artificial intelligence, with the intelligence in a space. And as soon as it becomes like a coworker, I think some of that wall of potential embarrassment breaks down and it'll become so much more natural. So yeah, that's something we've been talking about for, I don't know, 15 years, I think. So it's exciting to see it here now.
It's going to happen. Thank you
Yes.
for sharing all your experience and like your vision around everything that's happening right now in AI and leadership. Thank you so much for your time. And see you soon, probably.
Sounds
Somewhere
good.
around.
Thank you for having me. And again, really appreciate it. It's been fun.
Yes. Bye-bye, everyone.